Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rekah, HaKodash. Double honors to the true leaders of the nation of Israel in these last days, the elder apostles of great millstone who rule well, and salutations to the Most High's men in the four corners of the earth, pushing His word of sincerity and truth. And Shalom to the sisters that support and subscribe wholeheartedly to the message of deliverance and salvation of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. This your brother Yum for GMS, Mississippi. Just real quickly, through the Spirit, I wanted to go into this particular hot topic of the ChatGPT system, the program, this new AI technology. It's not actually new, but it's an old technology that is surfacing, and a lot of people are utilizing it. So a couple different things I want to do here. I'm going to put in what is the color of Jesus. So basically, this software would take questions. You have to be able to properly ask the question that you want to get an answer for, because the way that it works, it's almost like you can talk to yourself in third person, you can talk to another person, you can speak in first person, but it pretty much is able to regurgitate a response in the true natural fashion, right? So I said, what is the color of Jesus? It said, as an AI language model, I must clarify that Jesus' physical appearance has not been definitely recorded or described in historical or religious texts. Therefore, there is no accurate or objective answer to this question. However, according to historical and cultural depictions of Jesus in various parts of the world, his skin color has to been portrayed as ranging from light to dark. This is due to the fact that Jesus was born in the Middle East, where people have a range of skin tones. In Western art, Jesus is typically depicted as having light skin, but in other parts of the world, such as Africa and Asia, he is often depicted with darker skin. It's important to note that the color of Jesus' skin has no bearing on his teachings or the significance of his life and teachings to his followers. The message of his teachings, including love, compassion, and forgiveness, is universal and transcends race or ethnicity. So what I'm going to put in now, I'm going to ask a question. Who are the Edomites? And as you can see, it'll take the question that you key in and basically give you a complete dialogue of everything there. You know what I mean? So, but as with everything in society, it has truth to it and it has falsehood to it. So it won't give you everything 100%, but it's a tool that you can utilize in order to have information purposes when it comes to a particular subject matter. For example, right? Give me Bible verses on enduring. Then what I'll do, I put KJV. KJV in parentheses. Here are some Bible verses on enduring from the King James Version. And these are some good ones too, So what I'll do before I go to the next one, I'm going to read a couple of these. I'm going to stop it right now. Just let it pause. But the first one here is Matthew 24:13. It says, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved, which is true, right? Because only those that complete the race are the ones that are even eligible of receiving the prize, right? So as the scripture states, we are not them that fight as though we beat at the air. We're actually fighting for a cause, fighting for a purpose. And that's to be able to be found worthy in the end time. That way we may be those men that stood before before Yahweh Shai, as the angel gave our forefather Esdras that vision of Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus, right, which is a Greek title for a Hebrew man. So his Hebrew name is Yahweh Shai, and how he placed crowns upon those that endure unto the end and palms in their hands. Meaning what? That they ultimately completed the race, completed their course, and were found victorious. Hebrews 10 and 36, for ye have need of patience, that after ye have done the will of Yahweh, ye might receive the promise. Ye might receive the promise. Why? Because everything we do is under grace. Everything we partake in is granted via mercy. Okay? So we are prisoners of hope. So therefore we are bound by hope. And that's why the scriptures say that, Lord, will ye shall do this. Lord, will ye shall live. Why? Because there's no such thing as certainty when you don't even know if you lay down in the bed and you're going to wake up the next day. Okay. You can't even control a bowel movement. You can't control the outcome of your children. You can't control your spouse committing adultery against you. So therefore, you definitely cannot control life and or death. Romans 5 and 3, and not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience. Why? Because a resistance makes you strong. That resistance and that driving force that is constantly pulling against you, it brings forth not only physical strength, but it brings forth mental strength, because now you have to develop mental fortitude via brainstorming, understand, how is this overtaking me? How is this overcoming me? How is this pulling force? Okay, when I'm at this angle, or when I have this leverage, or when my posture is like this, or when my footing is like this, right? You're beginning to think outside of the box on how to remedy that driving force and that factor that's pulling against you. Therefore, you're now right learning to combat the resistance, which makes you stronger, tougher, and harder. James 1 and 2. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Verse 5, well, number 5, Salakia, Galatians 6 and 9. And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. And I'll end there because the point was made on how this particular technology is able to basically give you an output for whatever you may input inside of it. Okay, so now check this one out. Now let's pretend a Sunday school teacher does not have a sermon that they can speak upon, right? Write me a sermon about the salvation of the Israelites in a narrator's tone, who is sympathetic and fearful. Please use the KJV version. Boom. You see that? Write me a sermon about the salvation of the Israelites in the narrator's tone, who is sympathetic and fearful. Please use the KJV version. All right, dear congregation, today we gather to reflect upon the salvation of the Israelites. Don't that sound like a Baptist church preacher? Today we gather. Their story is one of perseverance, faith, and ultimately redemption. As I share this story with you, my heart is filled with sympathy for the hardships they endured and fear for the consequences of turning away from God. The Israelites were once slaves in Egypt, living under the oppressive rule of Pharaoh, but the Most High did not forget them. He sent Moses to lead them out of bondage and towards the promised land with miraculous signs and wonders. The Most High demonstrated his power to Pharaoh and the people of Egypt. Eventually, Pharaoh relented and allowed the Israelites to leave. As they journeyed through the wilderness, the Israelites faced many challenges. They grumbled and complained, forgetting the miracles the Most High had performed on their behalf. Despite their lack of faith, the Most High remained faithful to his promise to them to bring them to the land flowing with milk and honey. When they reached the promised land, they encountered fierce opposition from the inhabitants of the land. Yet, with the Most High's help, they were able to conquer their enemies and establish themselves as a nation. Throughout their history, the Israelites faced numerous trials and tribulations, including being conquered and exiled by foreign powers. Despite their struggles, the Israelites continued to cling to their faith in the Most High. They trusted in his promises and relied on his strengths to see them through difficult times. Through their faith and obedience, they were able to experience the Most High salvation and deliverance, right? And so you can see that there on how just simply changing the tone and asking the question differently, you were able to basically get a complete outline right there, right? And another thing, too, for brothers who may struggle with job interviews, right? This is off topic, off subject, but the Spirit just hit me on it because, hey, we all need a little advice every now and then, right? Watch this. How can I perform my best during my interview tomorrow at 9 a.m.? Right, then it gives you the tips. Here are some tips that can help you perform your best during your interview tomorrow at 9 a.m. Research the company. Then it breaks that down. Practice common interview questions. Then it gives you a list to go by. Dress appropriately. Being on time. Listening carefully. Show enthusiasm. And also, at the end, ultimately asking questions. Remember to stay calm, be confident, and be yourself. Right? And that's with everything in life. Be calm, be confident, and be yourself. Don't be prideful. Don't be arrogant. Because why? Because a great fall, right, comes, if not immediately, it comes shortly after being prideful. And the Most High will bring you down in the midst of the congregation in a very unbecoming fashion. So walking in the truth and walking in the light is not only an individual who says that they're in the truth. It's not only because you know the name of the Heavenly Father, His only begotten Son, or because you wear a head wrapping or dresses or skirts, or you're a man who walks around with the border of blue upon his garment. None of those things matter if you're not walking in truth and you're not walking in sincerity, right? Which is ultimately the light of wisdom that keeps you disciplined and grounded in what thus saith Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? And whenever you find yourself getting out of pocket or going a different direction, read the book of Psalms, right? Pray that the Most High take not his Holy Spirit away from you. And also in the book of Proverbs, the first chapter on these, on the wisdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? On how the fear and the love, and also the love of him is the beginning of knowledge, right? And also in Proverbs, the 6th chapter, going into these 6 things that the Lord hate, because you can understand that the Most High will have mercy upon you if he chooses to, and the Most High will not have mercy upon you if he chooses not to. But understanding that the Most High has a particular balance between love, grace, mercy, and hate. And any one of those at any given time, he can pull the trigger on you, and you can be victim of one of them, right? And it's what some are positive rewards and some are evil rewards. But ultimately, through prayer and supplications been made continuously to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, of course, those that have ears to hear, they understand that they want to be partakers of the goodly things and the blessings of the Lord, and not these particular things that the wicked and evildoers and the unrighteous are going to receive, right? Because we're not the recipients of as those that do evil, but we're the recipients of those that may suffer, right, unjustly, or may suffer for righteousness' sake, but not suffering for evil doing, So the Most High be the glory, his only begotten Son, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Barakathum. Until next time, I say shalom.